Welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. I am Caroline Chang, your host. The mission of Awake to Oneness Radio is to inspire the world to awaken to the universal truth of oneness. Science and spirituality has been teaching us this, that we are all connected. Recently, it's newer with science. Science has been teaching us that everything is energy, and that energy is all connected. And spirituality and ancient wisdom has been teaching us this for eons, that we're all one. So what you do to another person, you're literally doing to another aspect of yourself. And when mankind awakens to the universal truth of oneness, there will be peace on earth. Today's show topic is Revere. Sorry, why do I do this? The R has got me. Okay, Revere, Relish, and Contribute with Leslie Fieger. Leslie, welcome to Awake to Oneness Radio. So please, I discovered you from YouTube. I discovered you on YouTube a few months ago and invited you. And I have so many Canadians. It's like this show, at least half my guests are Canadians. But I love when I discovered your videos on YouTube. And so could you please share with our listeners and our viewers a little bit about you, how, you came to be who you are?
Well, let's see. My mother met my father.
Okay. All right. Maybe bring us up a little bit. Okay. You're funny.
Well, love had a lot to do with it.
Yes.
It does, yes.
But okay. you chose your mother and father.
I believe so, yes.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Okay.
Yes.
So you want me to talk about myself?
Yes, please. Well, introduce yourself to the listeners. Let them get an idea of who you are.
All right. So I'm the author of several books, some of which are relatively well known around the world. I have a long and varied journey. I started learning about personal development stuff when I was in my teens because my parents had Napoleon Hill and books and stuff around the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, over the years, I have walked the path towards self-knowledge and self-growth, and other times I have strayed from the path and gotten lost in the jungle.
Yeah.
Including a small stint in a Mexican prison for 4 years. Okay.
Okay.
Really, I got focused on my life's mission back in 1995 when I started a little company called Delphin International.
Mm-hmm.
And it took off quite nicely. And we did quite well with that process. And most people know me for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Along the way, we've done a lot of seminars, traveled around the world, talked to a lot of people. Now I talk to fewer people. I don't do large audiences so much anymore. I do smaller audiences. I do personal coaching. And occasionally I talk to wonderful people like you.
Ah, thank you so much. Well, you said something. You said when you were a teenager, your parents had Napoleon Hill around the house. That was when I was a teenager, about 15 years. When I was 15 years old, someone told me I must read this book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So that was actually my introduction to this back when I was 15 years old. So I always find something in common with my guests, which is amazing, which I love.
Yeah, this is good. So the personal development side of what I do, the positive thinking, the you can create your own reality. And there are certain proven steps that you can take to create a successful life for yourself. Is really a minor aspect of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
My major focus is on the spiritual development of the individual, and that's usually my coaching starts off. People come to me and they typically want to know how to create success in their lives, right?
Right.
I fairly quickly move the conversation into the deeper aspects of what it is to be alive and walking around on this planet and
Mm-hmm.
why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was back in 1995 when I made a final and firm and full commitment to spend the rest of my life living my purpose, which is to revere, to relish, and to contribute.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
And if I can explain that a little bit.
Of course, please.
Okay. To revere means walking around in a state of reverence for that which is sacred. And I believe that everything is sacred.
Yes.
Okay. It is impossible for me to even understand how some people believe in a creator and consider that to be sacred, whatever name they want to give that aspect, that greater aspect, right. And not believe that the creation itself is sacred.
Right.
So, and some people don't.
Right.
Some people often go about treating things profanely, and I have too, and no doubt you have too in the past, done some things that can be considered profane in the way that we've behaved in life. But I endeavor with every breath I take to walk around in a state of reverence.
Very true.
Okay.
I like that.
And the relish part is very, very simple. I believe that life is a great gift, and yes. that it needs to be enjoyed to the fullest, yes. in order to appreciate the gift. And yes. the contribute part is, I mean, that's basically what we're all here to do, to find a way to share who we are and enhance the lives of other fellow human beings.
I love it.
Relatively simple. But,
yes.
I'm a simple person, and that's my simple purpose.
Well, you know what? I love it. I say on this show all the time, I keep it simple. Even though it was quantum physics that woke me up to the truth of oneness in 2007. Like I said, my journey started when I was a teenager, but I did not really understand the metaphysical aspects of, I was very intrigued by it, and I studied it off and on, but what really woke me up was quantum physics. But because when quantum physics is proven that everything is connected and everything is one. So I keep it simple. All there is God. So you say you revere everything. That's wonderful, because everything is God. There's nothing outside of God. All there is God. So I keep it very, very simple. Whatever term people like to use, the universe, divine, source, whatever terminology, it doesn't matter. But it's all one. It's all God. So I always keep it simple, and I love that. I love it that you introduce that to your clients first, spirituality, because when we look at things at a deeper level and realize we're all connected, because that's my purpose. See, you discovered your purpose in 95, and I discovered my purpose, I guess, in 07, when I woke up to the truth of oneness, but I didn't start living my purpose until 2015, when I started this show.
Exactly 20 years later than I did.
Yes.
All right.
See, yeah, you're ahead of me.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. We walk the same path, that's all.
Yes.
All right.
No, it's all good. It's all good all the time. So the two things that really I'm grounded in is knowing that everything is God. So everything should be revered and honored and is sacred, and that all there is the now. And living my life to the fullest in this now moment, and being thankful in this now moment. Thankful for you. So tell us, now you said you written many books, several books. Tell us about some of those books that you have written.
Well, back when we started Delphin, the first thing that I wrote was called the Delphin System. And it was a annotized and an abridged version of Charles Hennell's Master Key. Okay. And that book now sells wherever, on Amazon or wherever, bookstores. And it is now titled The Master Key. Okay. And it's co-authored by me and a dead guy named Charles Hennell.
Okay. A guy that has transitioned.
Yes.
He's still with us.
Well, it most definitely is, yes.
Yes.
He most definitely is. Certainly his words are.
Yes.
Right. In any case, following that, I wrote what became known as the Delphin Trilogy, which consists of 3 books: The Initiation, The Journey, and The Quest. 800 and some pages of metaphysical literature.
Okay.
Okay. And then I wrote a little book that I wanted to present as a gift to my daughter, called Alexandra's Dragonfire, which incorporates the basic principles of not just self-help and self-empowerment, but metaphysical concepts as well. And then I wrote a book called Your Prosperity Paradigm, which I think the video you saw is basically a webinar I did, crunching the concepts of that book into a 1-hour webinar.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And now I'm working on another book, which is basically my life story.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So take us back to 95. When there was, what happened to have you decide you're going to live your life purpose? So it had to be something in 95 that brought that about.
Well, yeah, there was an event, if you will, that precipitated my commitment.
Okay.
That event is not important at all. It was a major disagreement with a person who I thought was misusing his abilities and his relationship with a bunch of other people. So I basically took over those responsibilities and moved on. Okay. But it was substantial enough that I knew I had to stop playing at the game of life and start being serious about being what I was capable of being and doing what I came here to do.
Okay. I see. Okay. So yes, I did. It was your prosperity webinar that I found on YouTube. That was really, so can you share, I believe there was 11, you don't have to go through all 11, but there was 11 key points in there that I think you brought out.
11 steps to creating and living a super successful life is the subtitle to it.
Okay.
And you want me to remember all 11 steps?
No, I didn't. I just said you don't have to, but can you share a few? the highlights, as they say.
I think, first of all, we have to frame the conversation to say that consciousness is a universally creative power, right? And our own individual consciousness is contained within the universal consciousness, right? And we are individuated out. We feel a sense of separation,
right?
But we're not separate. And the same consciousness that created, sustains, and enlivens the universe as a whole is resident within us. Okay, so that spark of consciousness, that spark of divinity is resident within us, and we have to recognize that it is creative.
Yes,
because it creates. Okay, so if we have some aspect of that power within our individual selves, then the best thing we can do is figure out how to be creative. And the first thing about being creative is to recognize that what you are capable of imagining or making up or idealizing in your mind is the first step in making it manifest in the outside world.
Correct.
The problem that most people have is they indulge in things like wishful thinking, and they don't have the power of belief to understand that what they think about, they bring about. Right? Thoughts actually become things.
Yes.
Right? Especially if you focus your attention on them and you believe them to be as true or truer than what you see as effects in the world around you, or the historical evidence that you've been presented with through society or family or education that has brought you to believe certain things about yourself and your power to
Right.
effectuate things in the world. So the first step is just to believe that what you can create in your mind, you can create in the external world.
Yes. I even take that a step further. For me, I know if I can conceive it in my mind, it already exists.
Well, yes.
I just have to raise my vibration, my frequency for it to manifest so I can see it with these human eyes and experience it with this human body. But my belief is you cannot even conceive of something that doesn't exist. If you conceive of it, it is. Everything
Right.
is here already. And it's just us now knowing that, believing it, and manifesting it into our reality.
Yes. Well, the thing that I like to say to people is that, everybody is quite willing to accept the fact that they exist within the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What they don't quite grasp, even when you tell them, is that no matter how vast or how small your concept of the universe is, right, it exists within your mind.
Yes, that's
right?
true.
So
Yes.
as much as we exist within the universe exists within us.
Us, exactly.
Right. Okay. And it is all, because I have studied, like you have, quantum physics and astrophysics and things like that quite extensively, my personal vision of the universe is quite vast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That vastness is all contained within me.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
whatever capacity that I have to imagine something is as vast as the universe.
Yes.
As much as the universe exists within my imagination,
Mm-hmm.
so can anything else.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step is that,
Yes.
firm understanding that what we conceptualize is the first step in making things manifest, right?
Yes.
Focus of attention, and rather than, most people have ideals of one kind or another, wishy-washy or firm ideals,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't pay much attention to them. They spend 5 minutes in the morning making their affirmations or whatever, and then they go to work or they do whatever, or they get involved with their social circles or whatever's going on, and they're out of their mind. Those ideals get placed to the side, right?
Right.
So they really don't place any importance on them. They're just passing fancy.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are extremely creative and focused have them in the front of their mind all the time, and they are always walking that path on that reality. This is my reality, right?
Yes.
And that's the direction I'm going, and everything else is just merely a distraction that it's like, people turn on the TV set and watch some stupid soap opera or whatever, right?
Yes.
It's a distraction.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
From yourself and from the truth and from everything else. And I understand people go to work and they get tired and they just want to chill out.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong taking a minute to entertain yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of what is called entertainment, it is not entertainment. It is entertainment.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
I turned off the TV years ago. Yes, I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So after the creation of something in your imagination, there's two fundamental vibratory forces that we emit as human beings. Everything is vibratory in the universe, right?
Yes.
Including our thoughts.
Yes.
However, the larger vibratory emission that we put out is our emotional output.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for a thought thing, an idealization, to come out into the world, it needs to have a lot of passion attached to it, because the mental vibrational energy and the emotional vibrational energy intertwine and form a braid that interacts with the existing vibrations in the universe, which is all vibration, and creates a matrix, right, or a moire pattern, right, which we get to see and perceive as our reality picture.
Okay.
Okay. So passion is extremely important, right? Attaching passion to your ideals is extremely important, right?
Yes.
Okay. I call it falling in love.
With your vision, falling in love with it. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So first you get into the first concept is envisioneering, right? Which is a combination of the words of envision and engineering, right? Engineering means using the materials available to you to turn something into something else. That's engineering, right?
Yes.
And envision is to create something in your imagination. So envisioneering is creating something in your imagination, using the tools available to you to turn it into a real thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then you attach the passion to it, fall in love with your idealization, right?
Yes.
And once you've done that, you're 55% of the way there.
Yes. Yeah, and I agree 100%. And what you said about belief. So many people they have these visions and daydreams, and they just don't believe. It's that belief is what's blocking them. If they don't believe that they can actually manifest what they're envisioning, they're putting up the blocks themselves.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the trouble with beliefs is people are told what to believe, right?
Yes.
Right from the moment that a child comes into its life, it is indoctrinated.
Yes.
Right. By the parents, peers, culture, and especially these days with the media, people are indoctrinated. They are told what to believe. They are told what's true. They are told how limited they are, and they are told what reality is. And people say to each other all the time, "Oh, get real." That's not true. You can't have that, right?
Yes.
All of that. They say, "Get real." Well, get real. I mean, reality is,
Yes, it's vibration. Exactly.
Way beyond what most people think it is.
Yes. So true. And we live in a vibrational universe. Reality is vibration. Everything we see, and I love the fact that science has proven all of this scientifically. Everything we see is just vibration, and it's all moving. I'll never forget in 7th grade science class when my science teacher, when we were studying atoms and molecules, and my science teacher said, nothing is truly solid. And I'm like, really? What about this chair, this desk? Nothing is solid. Everything is energy. And that energy is all connected. And our thoughts create form. So the form that we physically see with our eyes, our thoughts create them. And so many people don't really believe that, and they're not taught it. Society, this is something that society at this point should be teaching, because there's so much evidence to the truth of reality, but it's not being taught to our children mainstream education.
This is true. It's not. The knowledge is available to anybody who looks, right?
Yes.
And it's not exactly now that we have our verification from quantum physics and whatnot. That's all very cool, but the knowledge is not new.
Right.
It's ancient.
It's right. Ancient wisdom. Yes, it is.
Ancient wisdom, mystery school stuff from the old days, right? And way back thousands of years ago, people were talking about this in their own way.
Right. Yes.
At the time. Now we live in a culture that is in love with science.
Yes.
Right.
But the science is not even that new. The science is over 100 years old. The quantum physics of it is over 100 years old.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. From the early 1900s.
Yes.
Right. It takes a while, however, for scientific concepts to work to make their way into the mainstream social mind,
Yes.
if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the ideas that the deep thinkers in the Renaissance had are still seeping out into the general public, and this is hundreds of years later.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, fortunately, in today's world, things are with the internet and everything else. Knowledge spreads a little quicker.
Yes.
Right? So, a lot more people are waking up to the concepts, right? Whether or not they are actually embodying them in the way they go about living their lives is a different story.
So true.
But at least they have the ideas present so that they can examine them and see if they hold value for them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like when the rubber meets the road. It's so many people now. I mean, many people are talking about oneness and knowing that we're all connected through science, knowledge of science and spirituality, but living the truth of oneness. Like when things happen in the news, like I stopped watching news in 2001, right after 9/11. My higher self, I heard it clearly say, turn off that news and never turn it back on. And I didn't know why at that time, because this is 2001 before I awoke into the truth of oneness. So I just was obedient. I have not watched news since September of 01. I did hear from people I work with in this oneness, my mission, awakening the world to the truth of oneness is my life. And even people I work with in this mission who are, gung-ho for oneness, I don't know exactly what happened in Europe this past weekend, but I know something happened because everybody was all upset. And it's like, okay, but don't you realize that those terrorists are not separate from us? They are still a part of us. And to villainize, there are no victims, there are no villains. Just because something happens in the outer world that's not outside of us, that's inside of us, like you said, we forget our oneness. So I experienced that a lot. So it's living the truth of oneness, knowing it in your heart and soul, knowing it, not a belief. For me, oneness is not a belief, it's a knowing. I know that 7 billion people, and not just the people, but the plants and the animals and everything, Gaia, the earth, is all connected. We're all one. And when something happens and one of us hurts, we all hurt. When one of us is joyful, we're all joyful. It just radiates that way. So, but
there is a great word called compassion.
Yes.
Okay. Because we are all connected, and I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, it's irrefutable, right? I mean, we breathe the same breath, right? We are all part of the same ecosystem. We exist within the same universe. We have the same genetic code resonating in our body. We, are all one.
Yes.
No matter how you want to look at it, right? Even if you just want to look at it in a material way and not a spiritual way, it's irrefutable that we are all interconnected.
Yes.
Right? Everything that I do has an effect on the world around me. Everything I think has an effect on the world around me, and everything I feel has an effect on the world around me. And we notice that in our intimate relationships very often, but we try to ignore the fact that people, strangers to us on the other side of the world, are also impacted by how I am acting, behaving, thinking, emoting in the world.
Yes.
So it is a large responsibility to think that I am personally responsible for everything that's going on in the world. And this is why most people opt out of accepting that responsibility.
I see what you're saying.
So, but if you become compassionate and start to feel, allow yourself to feel, not just the joys and the sufferings, but to feel the intimacy that we have with everything else, then people how can I say it without hurting anybody's feelings? People shy away from that kind of connectedness because they're afraid, right? They're afraid that they can't handle it. They're afraid that they don't deserve that kind of knowledge, that kind of responsibility, and that kind of connection from heart to heart, if you will, right? And I don't mean just people heart to heart, but I mean, I have lying on the floor beside me, I have a dog who's my best hiking buddy, right?
Right.
And I mean, he loves me unconditionally.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Unconditionally, he loves me. And you know, that's something that I only aspire to doing. Right. I am incapable of loving unconditionally in most cases, right? I love my daughter unconditionally. Right. I don't necessarily love that stranger on the other part of the world who just killed a bunch of people in London unconditionally.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
well, you're being honest, yeah. Okay.
I'm still working on that kind of stuff.
That's okay. Well, for me, honestly, because of my knowing, it's everything for me. I look through spiritual eyes, and I know I'm still in physical body. I still have a body. I always say I have a body. I am not my body. I am, like you said, a spark of the divine. That is who I am, and that other person, even though they did something horrible in our human imagination, but when we look at it from a spiritual perspective, it was all agreement. Everything that happens to us, we are sovereign, divine beings of light. That's who we are, and nothing can happen to us without our agreement. So everything that happens with a soul agreement. So whoever was killed this past weekend, that was a soul agreement before they came into this incarnation. You know, and in truth, we look at everything linear. So let's keep it on a linear. But anything that happens to us, we have agreed to. It can't happen without our agreement, without our soul agreement. So I keep that at the forefront of my mind. Not only that, we're all connected, and in this dualistic world that we live in, there is the yin and the yang. You have the light and the dark. That's the world we created. That the illusion, the dream, has to have light and dark, and they're equal. They're not separate. They're equal. They're one. So in this particular, everything is happening divinely as it should. There is nothing that is happening that's not supposed to be happening, and nothing is happening without our soul agreement. So, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so let me throw a thought at you.
Okay.
My soul is this particular soul that inhabits this particular body right now. Is part of a collective.
Yes.
Okay. Of souls that are the creation of what might be termed an oversoul.
Okay.
Time and space being as illusionary as everything else, we can talk about previous lives,
right?
Or we can talk about consequent lives, or lives that will
hold simultaneous lives, and that's what I call them now. I used to call reincarnation, but now I know that everything is happening now, and we're living all of our lives now. Yes.
Right. Okay. So unfortunately, as hard as it is for me to admit, some of those other aspects of that oversoul that are related to me, we all belong to the same family,
Right.
Have done some fairly terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we judge somebody else as being an evil human being, and there are evil human beings around, we need to recognize that we are looking at an aspect of ourselves.
Exactly.
Right. And that's a tough thing to do for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to say that that's a horrible, evil person and they should be punished and burned forever in the fires of hell, or spend the rest of their lives in a human prison, or suffer whatever punishment society deems as appropriate in whatever culture you happen to live in.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, that's an aspect of ourselves.
Exactly true. Yes.
And as difficult as it is for people to recognize that and reconcile it with their wishful thinking aspect of who they are,
mm-hmm.
It is unavoidably true.
Yes. Yes.
So, you can talk about oneness as being this nice thing, and if one would recognize oneness and it's all going to be peaceful and everything else. Unfortunately, oneness means that we also have to incorporate everything that we deem to be not good.
Exactly. But for me, there is no such thing as evil, and there is no such thing as good. It just is. And we place labels on good, bad, evil, white, black. Those are labels that we place on it. But in truth, it just is. And in truth, like you said, in truth, from the spiritual perspective, we've lived hundreds of lifetimes. And in those we have been murderers, we have been rapists, we have been anything that can be, we have been, because we, as God, divine God, we want to experience all. So that's why I said the yin and the yang. The yin and the yang symbol, the white and black are equal. They're not separate. One is not greater than the other. In this world, this illusion world, because this is a dream. First thing you realize when you pass, when you transition out of this life, the first thing you realize is this was all a dream. So it's like, okay, and it's like, okay, I killed you last time. Okay, this time you kill me. Okay, so it's like that. It really is. It's like, okay, yeah, you did that. You played your part perfectly. Okay, now it's time for me to play that villain. And actually, I love this. It's a children's book by Neil Donald Walsh called The Little Soul in the Sun. I have a 6-year-old grandson, and I read him this book. It shows two souls before they come down into this incarnation. And one soul asks the other soul, please be mean to me, do horrible things to me to help wake me up. And so but I don't, so the soul agrees to say, and many people believe those souls that we deem evil are actually some of the most evolved souls to agree to do what we quote unquote call evil. And it's all to help us remember, because every challenge that we plan for ourselves is a blessing. Because those challenges are to help wake us up to who we really are. And once you're totally awake to who you are, that's when you live your life to the fullest. You live your purpose. You have no fear. You have no judgment. It's just because there is nothing but love. Everything, these quote unquote evil people, they're God. They're all divine. And this whole play we're acting out is just an illusion. We're sovereign, divine sparks of God. We cannot be hurt. I like that.
You are such a sweet ray of light, darling.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for me. It's just it's how I feel I have to remind myself of the truth and not let the illusion, and not get trapped and stuck in the illusion. The illusion to me is I sometimes just sit back and laugh at it. I'm like, okay, it's an interesting game they're playing. Okay, and I have nothing but love and compassion for the terrorists and for quote unquote victims. But I know that was a soul agreement. Those terrorists and that was the Holocaust. That was a soul agreement. 9/11, soul agreements. Everything. Nothing happens without our soul agreement. Actually, one of my first guests on the show was Robert Schwartz, and he wrote 2 books, Your Soul's Plan and Your Soul's Gifts, and he's coming back on in a few months, and he's written another book, but it talks all about soul agreements. Nothing happens without our soul agreement. And when you know that, you don't get mad. You can't get mad. It's like, okay, I asked that person to do that. We asked that person to shoot us, to kill us, whatever. It's our soul agreement. We can't be hurt. We're divine sparks of God. That's who we are.
See, you get to believe that because...
I know it. But go ahead. I know it. I know it. But go ahead. For me, and I always say to people, I want people to find their own truth within and live whatever truth that is. This is my truth that I'm living. So, but go ahead. You were about to say something. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, not everybody has that perspective. So
I know this.
When you come to the play, if you will, the script that your soul has written for this earth, sometimes people are such good actors that they forget that they are actors. They forget, they think that they are the role that they are playing, right?
Exactly, true. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for them, the things that happen in the world around them are more impactful, and they cannot see, if you will, the divine plan, or the not the meaninglessness of it, but the fanciful nature of reality.
Mm-hmm.
They can't see the play that they're playing a part in.
Right.
They don't understand that they've written the script, and they are the director, the actor, and the script writer, and all of that. They don't understand that. They're so caught up in being that role that they're playing that they've forgotten the rest of it.
Right.
So as a consequence of that, in order for them to play their part effectively, they become method actors. And when they forget their divinity, they become better actors, if you will.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why we do forget, because the people will say, well, why? We're God, we're divine aspects of God. Why do we choose? But we choose to forget, and we choose to forget so we can be good actors. If we knew, we couldn't play the role that well. It wouldn't. If you're watching a play or a movie and you say, that actor was so good, it was so convinced that person, and that's how, for us, we agree to forget who we are. And sometimes we agree to really, really be completely asleep. And in some lifetimes, we don't plan to wake up. But, in truth, there is no time. In truth, we're just dreaming. We're in heaven. We haven't left heaven, and we're just dreaming this dream. We're still there. So, in truth, it's all good, because in truth, everybody's going to wake up and nobody gets hurt, because we're all divine aspects of God that can never be separated from God. God never judges us. Ultimately, there's no judgment. There's no hell. There's no punishment. It's just love. And that's, for me, another word for God is love, because that's all there is. All there is love. I love your smile.
Amen.
I love your smile. But it's all good.
Yeah.
It is all beautiful.
It is all beautiful.
Yes,
it is indeed.
yes.
It is remarkably beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And it is remarkably intricate.
Yes. And I believe
so
we're living in great times, because I believe that I can't put a year on it but I believe mankind is awakening very quickly, and that before long, oneness, the truth of oneness, that we're all interconnected, is going to be like breathing. Like we're breathing the same air. It's going to be that known to mankind, and that's going to happen very shortly. I believe that's my belief.
There you go. Well, then what you believe you can create.
Yes. This is true.
There you go. Yeah.
This is very true. This is very true. But it's all good. And the power is now. The power is now, because even though, like I said, I know that we're living all of our lifetimes in this now moment. And people sometimes wonder, well, what am I doing in other lifetimes? You don't have to worry about that. Your power is in this now moment. Because if you awaken in this now moment, that affects all the other lives that you're living in this now moment. They all wake up a little, because everything, but their power is right here and now. Just being in this moment and knowing the truth of who you are and living that truth. Like you said, living life to the fullest is living your truth, whatever that might be.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So now tell us about your new book that you're working on.
Well, it is an autobiography. So I'm writing
Yes.
my story, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm telling my truth.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not just telling you about my history, the things that I've done, right? But I'm telling the story of who I am, right? So I'm bearing my soul.
I love it.
Right. So, and it's a very interesting process, because I'm discovering things about myself that I had put to one side.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And things are bleeding through from other realities, which is very interesting. Right.
Yes.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little disconcerting. But it's an interesting process, because when I decided to finally do it, and I've been thinking about it for years now, when I decided to finally do it, I wanted to do it in such a way that it wasn't just like, the glory days kind of thing, where the baseball star pitcher or something, writes his story and tries to make himself look good, or
Right.
the ex-politician does this, or anybody writes their story, and
Right.
maybe they pass on a little bit of personal philosophy or something like that in their life story. I don't want to do something like that. I want to bare my soul. Right.
I love it.
So it in doing so, because there are other aspects of myself that are not present in this body that happen to be elsewhere, some of those other aspects are bleeding through a little bit, more than ordinarily. So it's an interesting process.
Wow.
To say the least.
Wow, it sounds. I'm looking forward to reading it. I really am. Well, because I love that. Yes.
Buy a whole bunch of copies so it can become a bestseller.
Well, do you have a name? Are you working? Yeah. What's the title?
Hiking Home.
Hiking Home, and you like to hike.
I like to hike.
Yes, you do. Yes. Okay. Wow. I love that. Hiking home. Very good. And that's another thing. You just, the journey that we're on. We all come here for a divine perfect. We're unique aspects of the divine, and come here for a unique purpose. But also, it's the journey that we forget. We're so goal orientated that we want to get there. We want to get there that we forget about the journey. It's enjoying. Life is about loving every now moment and being thankful for every now moment and enjoying and embracing the journey, not just the goal, not just the reward. So hiking home, that makes me think of your journey, you know. So that's what made me think
Yeah,
of.
well, it is, and, you know, and what you touched on, and I think is a very valuable thing, is learning how to be present.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something my hiking buddy lying here on the floor beside me, Jasper, is in the process of teaching me.
Yes.
When we go out hiking, you know, he's 100% present.
Mm. Yes.
I am not always 100% present, right? I have some thoughts going on in my mind. I might be thinking about tomorrow or yesterday or whatever, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm not in the moment.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's a process, always is a process, to bring myself or anybody else to bring themselves home to this moment, to this moment,
right? Yes.
And there are tried and true ways, you know, focusing on the breath and all of that kind of stuff. But,
yes.
But yeah, hiking home is about being present.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Home is this now moment, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And in truth, we are home. We have we never left home.
Right. Yeah. All we need to do is remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I love it. I've been asked, like I said, I've been doing my show now for 2 years, and I've had some listeners email me and ask me to write a book. And I say a book is coming, but I did come up Mother's Day, this past Mother's Day, a title came to me, a working title, is I Am So Thankful I Am Awake. That's the working title. So I kind of made some notes. So I kind of started working on my book this past May on Mother's Day. So, yes.
All right.
So, yeah. So it's, but I feel like there's so much more I want to do before I write a book. So that's why I'm not in a rush. Yes.
Well, you know, once you get started, you'll get addicted to the process too.
Okay.
All right.
I love to write, though. I love to write.
There you go.
My son told me from the other side I have a book in me. My son transitioned, it'll be 3 years ago, July 1st. I can't believe July 1st. We're almost upon July 1st already. Yeah, it's been 3 years that he's transitioned. But I had my one session with a guest, a medium, and Suzanne Giesman. And my son's voice is actually on tape. We did we use Zoom like we're using now, but she recorded it using her microphone, which is very strong, and you can't make out what he's saying, but he literally was trying to speak through her computer. So that was just such an amazing gift.
Wow.
So, and he said, Mom, you have a book in you. So I'm like, okay.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, everybody's life story is worthy of at least one book.
This is true. Now, I did hear that long ago that we all have a good, yes, because everybody's life story has something, because we're all divine and we all have something to share. We all have a gift, a unique gift for the world.
Yes, we do.
Yes. This is so true.
Yeah. Mark Twain once said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why.
Wow. Okay. I'm not sure the day I found out, but I guess it was January of 2015 was when, well, I always had the vision, but when I actually listened to my higher self and actually took the first step. So it was January 2015.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
So you're
yes.
living quite the life. You get to talk to all kinds of interesting people.
Oh, yes, I do. I do, and I love it. And it's the thing I love. I live on YouTube, and I every day I discover someone. Oh, I got to invite him. I got to invite her. It's like, and some of them I've had some well-known guests like Neil Donald Walsh, Marianne Williamson, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Dr. Bruce Lipton. I had some very well-known guests, but then I've had many guests that are not well-known, but still have such a unique and amazing story to share. And it's just, I love what I'm doing. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's more than obvious. Yeah. And you do it well. You do it well. Your heart is so big.
Oh, thank you.
You know, when you're in the physical presence of another human being, it's very easy to feel their energy, right?
Yes.
Through electronic medium like this, it's not always so easy, but you're easy. You just like blow out. I'm lucky you're not blowing out the computer chips in my computer.
Well, you know what? Well, Spirit told me, my higher self said to me this year, just this past March, that I have to start doing live events. So I will be in, I don't know, you're on the East Coast of Canada. My first live event will be on the West Coast of Canada, Victoria, September 3rd. Yes, we'll be, actually, go ahead.
You never know. I could be out there. I'm going to, right? I have friends and family out there.
Okay, well, it's actually we now, because I have aligned with 4 other organizations that the name of the alliance is Universal Oneness Alliance. We just launched our website. Our first event is September 3rd, Sunday, September 3rd, in Victoria, Canada, at the Gardens at HCP. Everybody asks me at what HCP stands for, but it has something to do with horticulture. of Central Pacific, I think. Horticultural Center Pacific, something of that nature. Yeah. Yes. Okay. But that's where we will be. And that's where I know nothing about Canada. I know nothing about Victoria, but this is a directive from Spirit, and it's just all falling into place. So I am extremely excited. If anybody's interested and want to find out more about the event, the website is oneness.org. You can find out all the information there. So
all right.
Really, really excited. And please share with our listeners. Now, also, when is your book? Do you have an idea when that book is coming out, the new book that you're working on? No,
I don't.
Okay.
I would like to have it finished before the snow flies.
Okay.
Which is an old expression, right?
Okay.
So before winter, by the end of the year, right? I would like to have it published.
Okay. Then nice Christmas, make nice Christmas gifts.
Indeed, it would. Yeah.
Yes, it would.
And a good New Year's present to oneself.
Yes. So please share with our listeners how they can find you and keep up with what you're doing.
Well, I have a blog on my website that, I post in occasionally. Mm-hmm. And now, because I'm writing my book, I haven't paid much attention to the blog. So it's been a few weeks since I put something up there. But it's at lesliefieger.com or lesliefieger.ca, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's LESLIEFIEGER.com.
Okay, beautiful, right. Awesome. I am so happy. I love meeting new people, and then I'll get to meet you in person if you come to Victoria. So.
Yeah, well, there you go, temptress.
Yeah. That would be great. That would be awesome.
It would indeed be awesome. Yeah, I would love to give you a big hug.
That would be great. Also, let you know, and the listeners know, that if they can't make it to Victoria, we will be live streaming the event.
Oh, so, excellent. Wonderful.
Yes. That's the other thing that Spirit said I want this to, any event we do as an alliance, we want it to be live streamed. We want as many people, if you're not local, can't get to the venue in person, you can still experience it through live stream. So that's important to us.
Excellent. Well, good
Yes.
for you. That's wonderful.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's people like you who are making an impact in the world that you care and you're committed and you contribute. These are like awesome qualities, right? So thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you for being you. Oh,
Well, I'm just
now,
me,
you're okay. But before I let you off the hook, I want you to share at least one more key point from that webinar I saw. There was 11 steps. I want you to share another one.
Well, you've already touched on one, and that's gratitude, right? I mean, gratitude. If there's one thing that you can use to trick your own subconscious into believing in your idealizations, it's gratitude, right?
Yes.
So my suggestion is morning and night, when you first wake up, right, you start a litany of whatever you're grateful for that already exists in your mind, in your life, right?
Yes.
So I'm grateful for the air I breathe. I'm grateful for the person who's sharing my bed. I'm grateful for the food I have in my fridge. Whatever it is that you have,
yes.
right? Okay, you start a litany off, and I have a thing that I go through, right? That's about 15 minutes long.
Okay.
And then at night, before you go to sleep, and turn your subconscious, your conscious mind gets to rest, so you turn control over the situation to your subconscious mind. You go to sleep saying thank you, expressing your gratitude for the things that you are in the process of creating, right? So you're saying thank you for already having them, right? So that idealization that you're focused on and that you're passionate about, you're expressing your gratitude for having that, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what that does, if you do the expression, if you say I'm thankful for the food in my fridge, and you say I'm thankful for the book that I've published,
right?
And by the end of the year, if I'm thankful for having this as being a bestseller,
right,
and your subconscious can't distinguish between the present, what you consider to be the present reality, and the reality that you're creating, right? So once it becomes convinced that one's as real as the other one, then it's a done deal.
This is true. This is so true.
So that's one quick thing, and I know we're running out of time here.
No, don't worry about time. Hey, it's my show.
All right. And the other thing, again, you've also touched on, right? And that is that the universe is held together because of intention, right? The intention of the creator, right? Or the creative force, or universal intelligence, or as you say, God. The universe is held together by intention, right? And it's sustained and brought forth, enlivened by love.
Yes.
But there are certain, call them laws, not man's laws, but natural kind of laws that govern how the energy that exists in the universe, which is the manifestation of consciousness, how that energy interacts with itself, how different vibratory rates interact, how things come together, how, atoms are formed, how molecules come together, how people come together, bodies and all of that, planets, how ideas, social circumstances, how everything comes together is energetic, right? The interact. Okay.
Yes.
There are identifiable processes that we can call laws, right? That hold all these together, and we can call them several things. There was a big noise a while back about something called the law of attraction, for example.
Yes.
So, and then all of a sudden, everybody was a law of attraction teacher and all of that, which made me laugh because I was talking about the law of attraction back in the last century sometime.
Right.
Before it became a buzzword.
Right.
But there are other natural forces, right? That if you educate yourself about them and you align yourself with the way that they work, you become a more effective creator.
Okay.
Right. And the law of attraction is just one of those. So there are several, right? And everything that that we everything that we believe intellectually about our world, all of science, for example, is based on one of those natural laws, and that's called cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We always look for why, right? That's what science does. It looks for why,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the cause. What's the causal agent for this effect?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I mean, that's fundamental to the human psyche. Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
cause and effect, right?
Right.
We always believe that there's a reason, even if we don't understand it, even if we can't see it, if we can't discern what it is with our best scientific minds, can't find that reason. We believe there's a reason.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's fundamental to the human psyche.
Right.
And it is the underlying motivation, the paradigm that supports science.
Right.
You know, all scientists are looking for that cause of whatever, right? Mm-hmm. What causes this to happen, right?
Right.
So that's what science is. So I think the thing that we need to remember, and there are other things that that come out of cause and effect, like the law of attraction, right? Which is just being in vibratory harmony with something else. I mean, gravity in my mind is the most glaring example of the law of attraction ever, right? Mm-hmm. Material things are attracted to each other because they have mass, right? Mm-hmm. But they have vibratory alignment.
Yes.
So they're attracted to things. We attract things to ourselves that are vibratorily aligned to how we're being. Mm-hmm. That's as simple as it gets, right? You don't need a long explanation, right?
Right.
How we are being attracts to us the things that are in resonant with mm-hmm. how we are being. That's very simple. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we learn to understand how these things work, and you love quantum physics, and so do I, non-locality and all of that kind of stuff, right? If you learn how the universe is held together by intention, supported and sustained by love, which is the passion, the emotional current that we talked about earlier as being necessary part of creation,
right?
If we learn to look at how the universe is being held together, in other words, in each present moment, it is being created, it is being sustained, and it is being enlivened, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in each quantum moment,
right?
The universe is not like a solid thing, right? That is ongoing and is just there, like we imagine the table or the chair or whatever is just there. The universe actually blinks in and out of existence every quantum moment, right? It just it disappears and it gets remade again.
Yes.
Right. Okay. It gets remade again following certain principles, mm-hmm. and included in the mix of how it gets remade again are the vibratory output that we contribute to the mix.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So as much as we can blame God or divinity or the creative source or everything else for the creation of the universe, in actual fact, you and I are in each present moment creating the universe.
So true.
Right. So, if anybody wants to learn how to create a successful life for themselves, then they have to own up to that responsibility. That's all.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So true. Yes.
Unfortunately, no matter how you judge things to be, it's all your fault.
Well, hey, you know what? That's so freeing, though. When I understood, and I do understand and know in my heart that I am creating my reality, that is so freeing, because if I'm creating it, I have the power to change it in every now moment.
Right.
Because in every moment, I can change it. Yes. So to me, that is powerful. That is to know I am not a victim. I'm not a victim of God or the universe or source. I am co-creating. And as far as my reality, I'm creating it. And my higher self and me, and if I want to change it, I have that power. To me, that's so freeing to know that.
Yes, to you
Yes.
it is free. Yeah, it's
Yes.
liberating. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. To other people, it's frightening.
But when you understand who you truly are, which is a divine aspect of God, I love my favorite quote, Rumi. You're not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop.
Yes, exactly.
You are God in a drop.
Yeah.
So all that God is, you are. Yeah. So it's, yeah. To me, to know that is freeing, and there's nothing to fear.
Right.
What does God have to fear?
So coming back to, I said before, we all understand that we exist within the universe, but we haven't quite grasped the fact that the universe exists within us, right?
Just like Rumi's, yes.
Those trillions and trillions and trillions of galaxies out there with their trillions and trillions of stars, and God knows what all happening on the planets around some of those stars.
Right.
All of that, right? The Star Trek universe and everything else is all right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Very true.
And the consciousness that is individuated in you and me as me, and all 7 billion other souls that are walking around on this planet, right? All of that is contained within the consciousness which resides within us.
So true. So true. Yes.
So
yes.
Who creates it all?
Mm-hmm.
And where does it reside? Within ourselves.
Yes. So true.
Right.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being my guest. And I do hope, I say to all my guests, I hope one day to get to meet them in person and just give them a big hug. So I'll be in Canada.
You're on, sister.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing. I love having you. And we'll hope to see you in September. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me. It has been a sincerely real pleasure.
Oh, it's been all my pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. All righty. Bye-bye.